In this episode, I'm going to talk to you about the 7 things that I think will make your team, if you have a sales team, or make you a world-class performer. Ready? Let's get to it. Hey everybody, Bill Caskey back at the Bill Caskey Podcast. We're going on YouTube today. Sometimes we do audio only, sometimes we do video. Today we're doing video, so glad you're joining me. I've got some things I want to talk about today that have to do with world-class performance. You know, that moniker has been around forever, and sometimes I think it's useless because if we don't define what world-class means, then how do you ever measure yourself against it? So I've got 7 things here today that I'm shooting a video for leaders of companies, and so this is part of that, but I'm going to go into a little bit more detail here because I know a lot of our listeners on this show are sales professionals in addition to CEOs, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper there. But I have had, before we start, I have had quite a few people ask me about this heart incident that I had that I mentioned on this podcast. I kind of told the whole story and have a lot of really kind LinkedIn direct messages and emails. So I just want to tell you I'm good. Everything is being taken care of. I'm in cardiac rehab, which is basically an exercise program. It's really good. It meets 3 times a week for an hour for 12 weeks, and they hook you up and they do all the exercises and kind of keep you progressing toward running and lifting and things like that. I've always lifted. I'm back to the gym, but everything's fine. I've lost, probably don't know this, probably don't notice, lost about 12 or 13 pounds over the past month because I have cut out sugar. And as near as I can tell, that's kind of the secret to life. The secret to enjoyment of life is sugar. The secret to a long life is no sugar. So anyway, so thank you for all your kind words and encouragement, but everything is good here on this end. Some of you also have asked about the $1 Million Seller Challenge. Are we going to be doing that in July? We're not going to be doing that in July. We were going to do it every month. We're going to pick back up. I don't know if it's August or September. We're probably going to be doing every other month. We've had some great sessions. What it is a 5-day, 1-hour-a-day training, low price of, I think it's $97. And for that, you get 5 days of intense training on how to get to the $1 million revenue or income level. So we'll be continuing that. If you want to go get on the wait list, go to $1 Million Seller Challenge. We'll put in the show notes.com. Get on the wait list there, and that way you'll be the first. We're limiting this to 50 people when we do it again. More than that's just too many. And so if you want to get on the wait list, by all means, go to $1MillionSellerChallenge.com. All right. So the question becomes, how do I create a world-class team, or how do I create world-class results for me if you're a sales professional? I've got 7 things here. Let's go through these here one at a time. And so number 1 is you have to be world-class sales leaders and people are focused on systematic opportunities. Opportunities that come as a result of having a system that produced them. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. I think it was James Clear that said that in the book Atomic Habits. If it wasn't him, sorry, I don't know who said it first. I've heard it from a lot of different sources, but I do think it's important to have systems around goals. So if you want to double your income over the next 12 months, you can have the goal. It's great to have the goal, but the systems and the habits and the procedures and processes will help you get there. And so one of the primary systems that you must have as a performer is a system that puts you in front of opportunities. And if you don't have that, guess what? It's up to you in an analog way to go and pick up the phone or pick up the computer and start sending out massive email blasts. It's just not the way it's done today. It's just not the way it's done. I've talked to sales leaders a lot, and there's this feeling that we need to go back to the way it always was, where get on an airplane, go see people, press the flesh, go play golf with people. I'm not opposed to that, but that's not all. It's got to be part analog, which is the heavy lifting, which is the labor-intensive part, and half digital. And if you're not producing videos like this, or not producing content for LinkedIn, or not writing, or not speaking, or not producing, or not on other people's podcasts, guess what? You'll fall behind because your competition, some of them are doing that. Maybe not all. And maybe you still have a little window where you can do that, but you've got to get more digital. I know you're tired of hearing me say that, but I'm just being honest. I follow all the people who are the most successful. Marcus Sheridan, who's written several books. If you don't follow him on LinkedIn, by all means, go follow him. But he's talking about this all the time. So if your sales leader is saying, oh, no, you don't need to do that, he's wrong or she's wrong. Number 2, world-class people are hyper-intentional about the process that they take people through. There is a beginning, a middle, and an end to the sales process. I'm talking about the sales process here. And if you don't have a sales process, your prospect owns you. They will hold you hostage. They have a very good process. Prospect's process is get as much information as I can for free and don't ever pay for it. And the prospect's process is I decide after you give me the quote. That's not the way I play the game. That's not the way you should play the game. I get to decide who I give the quote to. If I'm up against 7 other competitors, I'm not going to play that game. Why would I do that? But you got to have a lead generation system so that you don't feel like, oh my God, this is the only prospect I have in my pipeline. I'm going to have to do what he or she says. Don't feel that way. So hyper-intentional. Do you have a process? Do you follow it? What are the hallmarks of a good process? Well, number 1, the prospect is selling you on why they need you. It's not you selling them on why they need you. It's them selling you on why they need you. They're the ones with the problem. They're the ones with the vision or opportunities. Why are you doing all the work? You shouldn't be. Number 3, customer interaction is exemplary. Customer conduct is exemplary. I did a post the other day on why I think most of us are pretty sucky at building rapport with people. And it's because of the training we got in the 70s when we were taught that rapport was just about complimenting. You know, boy, is that you and Jack Nicklaus there, that picture? That's cool. Where'd you play? Oh, Balmoral. Oh, cool. That's good. You play golf? Yeah, those are your clubs. What size? That's part of it. Interest in the other person, but a lot of that was just smoke and mirrors. We didn't really care whether that was Jack Nicklaus or not. We were just taught to ask the question because we said, oh, if we do that, we're going to have bonding and rapport. Bonding is a whole different level of rapport. So here's a couple of things on a rapport. If you're going to conduct yourself appropriately in the sales process, you've got to understand how to create rapport. The problem today is that a lot of your leads are coming in, they don't even know who the hell you are. If you're doing a good job on digital, then people are reaching out to you and saying, hey, I want to talk to you about XYZ. They don't know who you are. So how are you creating rapport with another human being? That's part of that exemplary conduct in the sales process. We all think we're really good at it, and we're not. And we're not, because if you watch how you are sold to, you will see very quickly that you have no rapport with the seller. I don't want you to be that way. I want you to have rapport. What's rapport? Be there as a value. Be there as a resource. Tell them that up front. Say, look, I don't know if we'll ever do business. We may not. If we do, that's awesome. If we don't, we're all still going to live through it. My goal today is to share with you some ideas and expertise, education that I think will help you. You tell me what your issues are. I'll tell you how I would fix them. And if you want to ask me to do it, great. If you don't, great. That's the beginning of great rapport. All right, number 4. Number 4 is world-class people have an appetite for personal improvement. I would say it's an insatiable appetite. It's not an obsessive appetite. I don't want you to sit around and watch self-help videos all day and not do anything with what you learned. I want you to be thoroughly insatiable. I want you to always be looking for improvement. The books you read have to be about self-improvement. And self-improvement doesn't always mean how do you interpret your dreams. Self-improvement could be, how do I shoot better video? What's my lighting like? What's the best gear to have? How do I frame the shot? How do I make sure the audio is good? How do I start the podcast or the YouTube video? That's self-improvement. We get into this habit of thinking self-improvement is all woo-woo stuff. It's not. You going to a class on how to generate more leads in your business is self-improvement. Are you doing that? Are you dropping any cash on that? Are you slicing a check for your own self-improvement, or are you waiting for the company to do that? I have told you the story before. I had a prospect a few months ago who I interviewed all the salespeople, and they paid me to interview them to find out what the issues were, like an assessment. And 4 of the 5 salespeople refused to buy a camera for their computer. Camera's $69. The company provided computer did not have a camera. Well, I'm not going to train people without a camera because I can't look in their eyes. And not one of them would drop $70. That's how committed to themselves they were. They weren't. So are you cutting a check? And it doesn't have to be to me. I'd love to have your money to provide value, but go cut a check to somebody and get help. Be personally improving. How do you know what to improve on? Just take a look at your skills. Where do your skills need work? What are the future skills? I always hear, negotiation. I want to be better at negotiating. Okay, that's good. You can do that. But how are you getting those opportunities in the first place? So some of those skills need to be top of the funnel skills. All right, I've said too much on that. Number 5, they're obsessed with inputs and detached from outputs. The outputs are a deal, a customer, a growing territory, making my numbers. Those are all outputs. I don't want you to be obsessed with them. They have nothing to do with success. What has to do with success is what goes into those outputs, otherwise known as inputs. So focus on the inputs of your business. What is it you're going to do every day or every week that's going to lead to these outputs? So if you shoot a video every day for LinkedIn or YouTube or whatever the cadence is that going to lead to more business? I think it will. I'll almost prove to you it will. If you say the right things and do it in the right way, I know it will, because it has for me and it has for a lot of my clients, almost all my clients. But if you don't believe that, then that's not going to be a good input for you. So what inputs are you obsessed about that you know if you do these 7 things every day, every week, every month, that you're going to get to your outputs? Stop messing around with, I almost said a dirty word there. Stop messing around with outputs. It's a game of inputs, man. That's world class. World class all about the inputs. World class runners, they don't think about winning the Olympics. I may envision that, I may visualize it. That's probably what their coach says. They're worried about stretching, nutrition, fitness, exercise, strength, speed off the blocks, etc. Number 6, you've heard me talk about this. I'm going to continue to talk about it until I'm not here to talk about it. And that is, you have to leverage your assets. You have assets. They're unused. They're underused. They're underutilized. You probably don't even know what they are. So it's impossible for you to leverage something that you don't know what they are. I've got a client right now who's in the, he knows who he is. Well, he obviously knows who he is if he's listening to this. He's in the accounting recruiting business. He recruits accounting firms who are going to sell, accounting firms are going to buy, matches them up. He's not a recruiter, he's a broker. But I don't think he would describe himself as a broker. It's kind of a diminutive thing. But anyway, but he's really good. He's got years and years of experience at helping buyers of accounting practices and helping sellers. So how is he using that asset? Well, now he's created 2 documents, or is in the process of creating a couple documents. One is why your accounting practice is not as valuable as you think that it is, some title like that, which is going to pique the interest of the accounting practice who's thinking about selling. And in that, he goes through the, 10, 12 things that the reasons your accounting practice is not worth as much as it should be and how to fix it. Well, if somebody downloads that from his website, who do you think they're going to call when they're ready to sell? Him. And then he's also got one for buyers as well. That's an example of, he has the awesome asset of knowledge, and now he's packaged that knowledge, put it into a booklet, PDF, so he can now use it and leverage. He's going to be using that thing everywhere. He's going to shoot YouTube videos on it. He's going to do a podcast, a whole podcast series on it. He's going to be on other people's podcasts where he's talking about these 10 or 12 things, and he's offering this guide. So he's going to take the asset that he has, the knowledge, package it, and then he's going to take the packaged asset and leverage the you-know-what out of that. And he will generate $1 million of income in the next couple of years doing that. That's his target. That's his goal. He will. I know he will. Are you leveraging your assets like that? Or are you discounting them? You say, everybody knows that. If you've been in business longer than 5 years, you're a fool if you're not leveraging your assets. Plus, you say that you're interested in customer service and you want to have more impact in the marketplace. Oh, yes, Bill, I want to have more impact. But you're not doing anything with your knowledge. You don't really want that. Number 7, the world-class sales leader has successfully changed the dynamic of the buyer-seller dance. We talked about a little bit of this in numbers 1 or 2, is that I want you to have a process that at the heart of the process is having the customer tell you what they need, what they want, what they're struggling with, what their vision is, where do you want to go, where do you want me to take you, I don't know if I can get you there, or here's exactly how I will get you there. There's too many times we've been taught to not say anything in the sales process. And I know there's that happy medium between saying too much and not saying enough. But a very simple way to think about it is you've got to change the dynamic. The way you do that is to find out everything you can about where they are, where they want to go, and then be explicit about how you're going to take them there. You are the vehicle that gets them from the pain to the pleasure. It's really a simple way to do it. I don't care if you learn any sales techniques. In fact, I'd rather you not, because I think that puts you into a category of creepers. And I know that there's a lot of people out there watching this who say, oh, Bill, I follow the Smith-Hyman method or the Bandler method or whatever. Okay. Are you doing all these other things? Or are you focused totally on the sales process? Sales process is one important thing. I want you to change the dynamic around it. Okay? Go to BillCaskey.com if you'd like to have a conversation with me or about your team or about you or about your family or your loved ones or your church group. No. If you want to have a conversation with me about you growing your business and being world-class at something, whether you're a CEO or a salesperson, love to talk to you, but only if you're inclined, BillCaskey.com. I will see you next time. Bye.